Hello and welcome to another edition of Straight from the Training Ground, where we share our love for the beautiful game and the people out in their communities doing beautiful things. We have with us today a very special guest, the founder and CEO of Soccer Rebellion, Michael Dublas. Michael, thanks for hopping on here with us today.
Of course, brother. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Soccer Rebellion, what it is, how it got started.
Sure. So the Soccer Rebellion really is a soccer movement dedicated to giving players a platform to be able to create America's soccer culture, soccer identity. So what we found, or what I found as a player growing up and then coaching, a lot of it's dictated by governing parties, a system, a club, a badge, so be it. And so the player's voice gets a little drowned. Um, So we mimic to be more like basketball, where the cultures are really dictating the culture and what it looks like, celebrating the lifestyle of what the soccer players have. And so we do that with our marketing and with our platforms on social that we have, and then by having events that are inclusive, that are designed for players to be able to afford to be able to do what we do, and then celebrate their lifestyles at our events. So, for instance, at our tournaments, we'll have a live DJ and MC. We'll have hip hop artists that are performing. We'll have graffiti artists. We'll have a barber lining up doing fades, just to celebrate the inclusive lifestyle that soccer players have with the street culture and the street game, and give it more of that image. So, doing things that players are already doing, but just putting that on a higher pedestal, a bigger platform for players. So, um, yeah, the reason I started this is that it just soccer never felt like it was American growing up and playing, and
Hmm.
I started playing at a young age, and as I got to those higher levels, all I had was European or South American coaches, and I always felt like my style, my swagger, my tune just wasn't being sung. So, when I got into coaching, I wanted to make American soccer players feel like you do have an identity. There is a style. It's not definitely profound yet, but this is our mission. You guys go and create it and give us that style. The style is dictated by the players. It's not by the club. It's the player behind the badge really that gives that club the image.
Very cool, very cool. So let's take this back real quick. I love what you're doing with that. But take
Thanks,
us
man.
back a little bit. Your background in soccer. Where did you get started? How did you get started? All that good stuff.
So I grew up playing. Just naturally, I think I was athletic a little bit, so speed. So I excelled quickly because I was left-footed and
Hmm.
had speed. Um, and so at the youth level, I got to ODP. ODP used to be a little bit different. I'm 36 years old now, but it was the ranks to get to the national team. So I had the state pool in Michigan. Um, and then I did Premier Leagues. I did, I never got to a national league, but in high school is where I got scouted by some colleges and where I was definitely burnt out from the game. Um, I started playing Hispanic League instead, got my passion back in, my early 20s, 21, 22. Found myself at a professional tryout with Seattle Sounders. And while training for that tryout, I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus, and
Hmm.
kind of found out then and there that my body just wasn't built to withhold the game, which was a reality that I needed that got me into coaching. Like you
Yeah.
realize when you get to that higher level how remarkable of a recovery speed these athletes have,
Yeah.
and how different they are. So I just had to come to terms with that. Back when MLS was, I mean, this is like 2008, 2009, watching MLS. I was like, oh, I could do that. And then, and then
Yeah.
I go and, and I'm training with these guys, and the speed of play is just like, wow, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
You know,
And
how
then it's
fast they
every
are.
day after every day, and
Yeah,
then yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
2
So
games a
there's a
week,
lot
and
that doesn't translate on the television, I think,
yeah.
because we'll watch EPL or, La Liga, whatever it is. But I mean, up close and personal, it's really fast.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, that's great. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but kind of the idea with Soccer Rebellion, and this is something I'm very passionate about, and what we're very passionate about here on Straight from the Training Ground is kind of it's against the pay to play model with club
Correct.
and all those kind of things, right? It's kind of trying to give a voice to kids out there that don't have those economic backgrounds to do that. Would you? Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's we've been fighting this fight now for 5 years, and you need a community behind you to do it.
Yeah.
It feels like us players, including yourself, we know the right answer. We know, but we're just we're guilty to the system. We fall trap of the system ourselves, and because you do want to make a living, but it's um, we're selling it to the suburbs still, and there's not
Yeah.
this community behind being able to make the game accessible and to give it a platform where it's equitable in a sense where you don't need $5,000 a season to be able to be seen. And that's where I think it's really not doing service, for the national team, for the soccer culture in general is, really to get to that top level, you need to pay for it, which is
Oh,
not
absolutely. Yeah.
equitable. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to pull up the website here real quick and show everybody. While I do that, you are based primarily out of Michigan, correct?
Correct. That's our home base. Yeah. We just,
Okay.
we just built
You-
futsal courts downtown, which is pretty
Okay.
dope.
Okay. Absolutely. And in what town? In
Grand
what city?
Rapids.
Grand
Grand
Rapids.
Rapids. Yep.
Okay. And then, so I'm showing you. You can see here you have different tours and some tournaments and things like that.
Yep.
How do you put those things together? Can you tell everybody a little bit more about that? Is it something that runs through the summer?
Yeah. So the Takeover Tour is our marquee event. And what we're trying to do with that is go to each city around the country. We typically do 10 cities, 10 to 12 cities, and put on a tournament that mimics that city's culture. So we'll tap in to the soccer network there. We'll tap into the businesses and organizations that are supporting that community and then put on an event, just a big party that's for 3.5 hours on our patent atmosphere with the barbers, with the dancers and the DJ and MC. And then the winners of each city get invited to a finals with Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
And you win $5,000 for that. So there's a cash prize at each one of our tournaments. But Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods are really our biggest partners and are starting to rally behind us. So we're trying to put on a national tour. So eventually we'll be hitting every marquee city around the country. But it's identifying the communities, that are playing futsal, that are playing soccer, that are playing pickup, and just connecting some of the bridges,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
showcasing, there's a big, so what you'll see when we go to each one of these cities is you'll see the players that know how to play pickup or that continue to play pickup. And then you'll see a slew of like the semi-pro arena, league players that come. And you better believe it's these pickup kids that are smoking them. There's
Yeah,
just
really.
just a little bit more of a flair, a little bit more of a creativity, no fear type
Yeah.
ownness to the game. And I think that's like the swagger that we're missing is that type of, yeah, this is my game. Let me mold in it. Let me play with it. Um, so we do that, and we have Young Rebels as our nonprofit, and that's going back to exactly what you talk about. So right now we do camps,
Okay.
and we'll try to find sponsors to allow us to get facilities to be able to put on pickup, and put on clinics for them to be able just to explore the game themselves. Everything we do is based around not coaching because we're trying to inspire pickup. So we'll
Yes.
give them a couple flair moves and then show them the social nuances of conducting pickup themselves, and then let them play. And then we'll just be their biggest fans while they're playing, which is great. And I'll tell you this: I'm a coach myself, so I've coached for 12 years. It's the hardest thing for a coach not to want to correct
Yeah.
everything that's going on. So, but this summer we did our camp, and so it was a half hour yoga, a half hour of a skill move, and then an hour of pickup. And I didn't say a word as much as I wanted to. I didn't say a
Mm.
word. The development is drastic, drastic.
Yeah.
So it was a learning lesson for me as a coach, just to let these kids learn through trial and error and how important that was, and the IQ that comes along with them just, organically learning different scenarios within the game.
Oh, absolutely. And that's and learning through failure, right? You know
Right.
that it might
Yeah.
not pull off that move, but you learn the next time. And I'm a high school coach as well and a coach club. And
Nice, man.
I agree, I think that's one thing that's hard to get through to parents as well. I'm sure you see
Yeah.
that also, is that parents don't realize, they think that they're helping and trying to give instructions or things during a game, but really you just got to go out there and play. And
Yes.
sometimes you pull it off and sometimes you don't, but that's how you learn.
So did you play?
Yeah.
Do you play?
Not anymore. I don't have much time right now between all these things, but yeah, I played all through high school. Started playing when I was like 5 and did the rec league thing and club,
Yeah.
and then played in high school. Was lucky enough to play at the college level, at the NAIA level, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. What
So
position did you play?
I was a midfielder, a winger, kind of,
Okay.
a
So you're
winger that
fast.
lacked all the flair that you're developing.
Hey, me too. I had a cut. I had one cut, but it worked, and I was left-footed. So yeah, I was
Yeah,
I was I was CDM and a left winger. I used to have speed, and then I didn't. But
hey,
no,
that
I get
happens.
it.
It happens.
Did you play pickup at all?
No, that's the thing that's you know I'm really glad to have met you and glad to be able to do this with you right now because it's something I'm very passionate about as well. My partner that's on here with me, Ryan, couldn't be on here today, but we're both very passionate about what you just said about the culture of our country because I feel like we automatically eliminate about 2/3 of the kids
Mm-hmm.
right off the start. And if kids have an avenue of like what you're trying to provide and some other places in those lower economic areas, in the rest of the world, soccer is the game, it's a working man's game, right? All you need is a
Yeah.
ball, and kids are out there in the street kicking the ball around, stuff like that. And so that's what I'm very passionate about. And, growing up, I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, and, it wasn't real prominent back then other than just going to
Sure.
practice, kicking the ball around. Biggest thing I ever did was I just kicked the ball against the wall, a lot
Yeah.
and
But
worked
that's
on
huge.
things. And I lived across the street from a school and just kicked the ball against the wall all the time and worked on things like that. But there was no pickup, in my neighborhood, in my community. There was no futsal, there was nothing like that. So
Yeah. See, I was fortunate enough at recess. We had a group of players. A lot of the soccer players in where I went to school went to
yeah.
my school. So we would play every recess. It was 15, 20 minutes to the point where the teachers had to separate me and one of my good friends, Steve, that went on to
Hmm.
play at Western Michigan University, um, because we would just dominate. But it was prominent. And then so when I looked back at my development, it wasn't the practices 2, 3 days a week that
Hmm.
developed me as a player. It was those times at recess that gave me the confidence that made me, want to be a better soccer player playing,
Yeah.
you know
Oh
what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that it's all, yeah, I mean, you hear it from Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry just had a quote saying it's the suburbs of Paris that is responsible for a lot of the development of the French players because of street soccer and pickup and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, um,
Absolutely. So where I have two more questions real quick. We'll let you get
yeah.
out of here. I know you're a busy guy. First off, where would you like to see, several years down the line? Where would you, in a perfect world, like to see Soccer Rebellion?
So I compare this to the X Games. I'd like to be the X Games of soccer and street soccer, where
I thought you were going to say like the and one mixtape.
no, we are the N1 mixtape for sure, but we want to be bigger, and we know better not to fight Nike. That's just why
Yeah.
they're our partners. So if you watch the documentary, but
Yeah.
yes, we want to be that big. We definitely want to have that swagger to it. Um, but more or less the facilitators of street soccer and making, um, street soccer and pick up and the culture renown and facilitating these marquee events that maybe people globally are coming around and seeing. So that's always what I thought this big facilitation of the game and giving it its swagger like and one basketball. So a little bit of a mix.
That's great, man. That's great. And then real quick, if anyone's out there that, can they contact you? Are you looking to expand or go to
Yeah.
other states or to grow this? And how might they do that?
So
And
yeah, they
what
can.
would they need?
So if they want to hit us up on Instagram or on our website, thesoccerrebellion.com, and they have the passion of starting something like this and being able to grow the street culture around them or get a community going, we will do what we can to help them and give them the assets that we have available with our partnership with Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods. So we're all about sharing the love. We think that collaboration is what's going to help grow this sport. So we don't think of it as competitively, and we don't try to segregate, through competition. We think, no, if we're promoting the sport, let's work together. What can we do to help you put the sport in front of more people? So all you have to do is contact us. We'll have a conversation, and we will try to help you the best that we can.
That's very cool, man. So we wish you the best of luck. I really love what you're trying to do out there with Soccer Rebellion. We hope you keep up the great work. So again, make sure you check them out, Soccer Rebellion. They're online. They have a website. They're all over social media. based out of Michigan, but looking to come to a city near you. So,
Absolutely.
Michael, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. I also want
Thank
to give a
you.
shout out to Supporter Supply in Columbus, Ohio, for hooking us up with our Straight from the Training Ground jerseys. We'll be giving a few of those away here around Christmas, so keep an eye out for that. Michael, keep up the great work, and we appreciate Soccer Rebellion and everything you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Visit our partners at Uno Zero, where they make classic leather football boots. Check out our friends at Duke Brand FC for all of your coaching needs, notebooks, and more. Visit our friends at TractionSocks.com for your grip socks.